In this next lesson, we will finally begin creating the holes for the center cap of our racing rim. This will be the second to last module of this course, so hopefully, throughout this series, I was able to provide enough information for you to look forward to when it comes to building racing rims. More importantly, I hope you now have the knowledge to one day build your very own. Okay, let's jump right to it. On this rim here, there are 5 holes here where the bolts would go to. But given the subdivisions we provided on the inner piece of our rim, the geometry doesn't necessarily line up with our reference image. Not only that, but when you select the group of faces, you'd think it would be even, but it's actually leaving us with an uneven amount of space in between. And that's perfectly fine. Given a little time and effort, we could add some edge loops to help line everything up, and you can make all 5 holes. But we're not going to do that at all, simply because we want to try and have a total of 4 faces per hole to create the circular shape for the rim. So instead, what we will do is create 4 holes instead of 5. Doing this will allow us to have an even amount of faces in between our geometry. So let's go ahead and switch to faces mode and select our faces. Now you want to be sure you are selecting the faces in the back as well for this to work properly. Okay, great. Let's now hit Control E to extrude these faces. But at the moment, we are going to just offset them just a bit. Now, if you look at the reference image here, you can see there are some details inside of the hole, which we will be creating in just a moment. But for now, let's hop back here. I think I'm going to bring the offset up just a touch. Don't really need a lot of space. Alright, great. Now we will switch to vertex mode and we will move some verts into place to create that circular shape. Now remember, we want to grab the verts on the back as well. We want to try to get this as accurate as possible. I like to start off by grabbing the first 2 verts in the front and back and just move them in like so. And like I said, you want to try to get this as accurate as possible so you can have a somewhat decent circular shape. I just want to be sure it's looking decent. Just looking at one view helps a bit, but when you're in a perspective view, sometimes you can almost tell if you need to make any more adjustments. Alright, so far so good. Now what we will do here is go to Edit Mesh, but before we do all of that, let's select these faces from the front and back of our geometry. And now let's go ahead and go to Edit Mesh and Bridge. I believe you can also just delete the faces as well, but usually with certain geometry, when you bridge these faces, it would automatically create more faces on the inside. But it doesn't look like that actually happened here, but that's perfectly fine. All right, we're going to switch to edge mode and we'll select a few edges like so. Then we will bridge these together to create a face. So we will bridge all of these edges here one by one until we've filled the circle. Let me see if this works. I'm gonna select a few more edges in a group. Okay, now I will bridge. All right, that actually works. All right, now let's take a look by smoothing our geometry. Nice. Not bad, not bad. It's not a perfect circle, but it's close enough. Let's go ahead and add an edge loop on the inside here to help sharpen the edge of our hole here. Okay, so now I'm going to pause this video here and I'm going to continue working on this circle a bit more as well as build the other 3 holes here. But essentially, you're repeating the same steps with the other holes. So let me go ahead and pause this and we'll continue on with the next remaining steps. Alright, so we're back and I realized the reason why the bridge didn't work on the first time around after selecting those faces is because I had some verts together that weren't merged just yet. And now when it comes to modeling, it's only natural that you see 2 verts together, but they aren't merged. It happens from time to time, so just be sure you're checking for those verts. Now, in the next and final lesson, we will work on adding some details inside the holes as well as extruding the back of the center cap of our rim to account for space inside the holes. So stay tuned, and I will see you in the next module.